Hello again, everyone. Patricia here, and I'm back with another update on my 30-day minimalism challenge. I've got to say we are over halfway through and it's going great. Some days are very challenging, some are more focused on decluttering, and others are really introspective. So we left off with day 10, and day 10 was an easy day for me. It was no email or social media until lunch. Now, I can imagine how this can be really hard if you work in an office sitting at a computer, how it'd be really tempting to just check your email, your Facebook, something like that. I will say that I've gotten into a very bad habit of checking my feeds during nursing times. So I've really tried to stop looking at my phone during nursing and look at my daughter instead. So while that day had a brief challenge, it wasn't nearly as challenging as going without internet all day. That was probably still the most challenging. Day 11 was also another pretty light day. It was to evaluate my commitments. And I'll tell you what, one thing I learned is I don't really have a lot of commitments. Now, once again, when I was working, I would take on extra things like drama, Scholastic Book Fair, and all of that. And so it's just a different world. Living as a stay-at-home mom is different for me. I haven't signed up my daughter for anything. She's not in preschool. We're not doing any gymnastics. I would like to do gymnastics with her soon. I would like her to start doing extracurriculars. So I'm going to keep these things in mind and not overwhelm my schedule and get so excited and sign her up for everything. I think it's probably best to do one activity at a time. I know growing up, I balanced soccer and Girl Scouts and catechism and eventually band. And, it was challenging. It was challenging for a single mother. Thankfully, we lived in a very small town and I could walk to just about anything. It's kind of a reverse lesson for me. I'm realizing that I do have some time, and I think my daughter would benefit from having at least one social or physical activity that we can do. Day 12 was to define my goals for the year, and I am big on goals. I'm so big on them, in fact, I'm going to skip this update and do it as an entire separate video because I've been really reflecting on my past year and thinking of what I'd like my next year to be, and I have a lot to say about that. Day 13 was another declutter day. These decluttering days are some of my favorites, and it was to clean out my closet. I've done this many times throughout the past year, as has my husband. As I mentioned before, we're doing this together. But we each did have some things to get rid of still, even though we thought we had really pared down. And this time, instead of focusing on a popular phrase from the life-changing magic of tidying up, rather than think about joy, we focus on the word confident, or at least I know I did. When you put on that clothing, whether it's, socks, an undershirt, t-shirt, camisole, jeans, whatever it is, when you put it on, do you feel confident? Do you feel confident in that piece of clothing? And that really helped me make the decision on whether to keep or get rid of. Day 14 has me a little stumped. It's to take a step toward learning a new skill. And I'm monolingual, so I really would like to learn a language, but I just know that I won't dedicate myself very well to that, at least not this year. And I know that yoga is a skill, so I'm kind of thinking about doing yoga, which goes great with my morning ritual practice. I could include that in my mornings. I was toying with the idea of sewing earlier, so I have to say that day 14 is not totally solid, but I will include that when I go back to day 12 and define my goals for the year. Day 15 had me really looking at my bad habits, and I have a bad habit of going to my phone when I nurse. I told you about that. Another bad habit I realized I had, and I kind of always knew it, but I oversnack in the evening. After dinner's cleaned up, the girls are in bed, the first thing I want to do is go find cereal or chocolate or a pastry or something that I don't need. I'm not even hungry and I do this. Same thing at nap time. I used to have the bad habit of just getting a second cup of coffee, regardless of if I was tired or wanted it, or even if it tasted good. I have developed a new habit within the past, probably since my daughter was born, and that's checking my phone in the night. So I used to just go to bed from the couch to the bed and go to sleep. And now I go to bed and look at my phone for way longer than necessary. And I'm staying up later because of it. It doesn't make me sleepy the same way reading would. I don't like it. It's unhealthy. And I really want to kick that one. Day 16 was a no spend day, and it opened my eyes up to the idea of wanting to do a no spend month. I'm watching a few YouTube channels who are doing that, and I think it's really cool. It's funny because on day 16, it was the day we returned from vacation, or the day after we got home from vacation, and we had planned on getting pizza that day before realizing what the challenge was. So we cleaned out our fridge. When you go out of town, you take care of all that stuff. Usually you can prepare a freezer meal or make sure you have something to come home to, and we made sure we were going to come home to pizza. And then we realized we're not spending money this day. So it was really nice to just force ourselves to go into our pantry, and we made a delicious meal. It was like a tikka masala with some rice and peas. It was perfect, and my daughter ate it, and it was great. And we wouldn't have done that otherwise because we were being lazy and got pizza. So it was really nice to see that you can come up with a good meal without planning if you shop kind of nice. Everything was in our pantry and the chicken was frozen, so it worked out. And for this update, I'll leave off with day 17, which is practice single tasking. Years ago, this idea of multitasking came out and we were all multitaskers and we were so proud of it. And look, all I can do the dishes and this and that. But are we really doing anything more? I think we're probably just running around doing a little bit of a lot of things. And one thing I remembered when single tasking was you can totally cross off an item from your to-do list from start to finish if you just focus on it and only it. And it was hard because the single task I focused on was cleaning out my closet. And as I was walking my clothes from the bedroom to the living room, I saw toys, I saw dishes, and I kind of wanted to get those done. And I had to just kind of put shutters on and go straight back and forth from the garage to the closet and not do anything else because I am notorious for wanting to do 600 things at the same time. So as you can see, minimalism, at least the way I practice it, is not just about stuff. It's not simply about decluttering. That is a huge part of it, and that is a great starting point. But there is a much deeper aspect to minimalism. It's about getting rid of the things you don't love or that don't add a value to your life and adding more of the things that do. Well, I have really learned a lot, and I am certainly not done. I hope you're learning some things too, and maybe would consider adding some of these challenges into your daily life. So thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.